Welcome to Jake's Savvy Moment, where you can get tips and ideas on how you can improve your and your horse's development. Roll the tape. Today on Jake's Savvy Moment, we're going to talk about flexion. Now, flexion shows up in a couple of our different skeletons. It's one of the systems of the horse. So we have rapport, respect, impulsion, flexion. We also have it show up when we say nose, neck, maybe the feet. We have that saying mind, flexion, weight, feet. Okay? And the flexion is about when the horse gets shaped up. It's the preparation to do anything. And we don't want to do anything with our horse not prepared. Okay, with inappropriate flexion. And so that's a very deep subject, but we're going to get started at looking at how on the ground can we prepare our horse with appropriate flexion, and then how can we start in the saddle. Now, one of the big reasons that we also know flexion is important is there's three things that you can't do too much of with your horse. There's undemanding time, there's using your horse for transportation, and then there's also working on the flexion system, especially neutral lateral flexion. And so it's something that we don't want to make a big deal, but we sure do want to spend lots of time doing a little bit, so the horse gets very comfortable and confident shaping themselves for whatever task it is that we're going to do together. Now, this is Super Newton, and Newton and I are going to show you how on the ground, just the weight of this snap is going to become important. Now, there's a couple of hinges in here where different parts are going to engage at different times as I move through my phases of picking up a feel with the rope. And what I want to show you is, as I go through lifting up on that snap, I can program him to have that lift mean tuck your chin and get ready. Okay? What we're going to do is I'm going to put a lift on. I've got the rope up, now the snap comes up, now it starts to lift on the bottom of the halter, now the knot of the halter engages. I'm going to use my elbow here to block his nose, and if I can just get that lift to mean tuck your nose, not turn, there, and then release that down, I can become aware of that on my groundwork, and it's going to prepare us for the saddle. Now, we're going to get on the hackamore and look at how the hackamore is used for this, and then we're going to transition and look at how the snaffle bit with the slobber straps also helps with this idea. Now that we're on, we've got our hackamore on, and this is a heavy hackamore, it's a 3/4 inch, and the makeup of this compared to a rope halter tied with Makati reins isn't much different. What I want to draw our awareness to is the knot at the bottom, where the knot is and then the reins are tied. That creates a real heavy weight, and what we're going to use that weight is the same as the snap on our halter and lead rope, and it's going to create a signal to signal our horse to get ready, and they're going to tuck their nose and neck. And so as you can see at a rest here, it's resting on his chin. And what's going to happen when I start sliding the reins, first they're going to slide on his neck, that's his first signal. Next, the knot's going to come off his chin, and see he's chasing that knot with his chin, going, where is that knot? So he can find rest and comfort again. So it's not the pressure of the halter or the hackamore causing him to do that on his nose, it's the weight and the signal of the not being lifted that is encouraging that flexion. So this is where I would start at a standstill. I might start with a little bit of lateral, side to side. It's going to be easier, but there's still a tuck of the chin, and then a little bit of vertical flexion here. And this is just one way, when sitting around with my horse, I can be hanging out, that's undemanding time, and then do a little bit of playing with the flexion system by how little can I do to have you get ready. And then I might do that while I'm out using my horse for transportation, going for a walk, even if it was just in the arena from block to block. And we're just going to do that now so you can see in motion how I might play a little bit with him to sensitize him to the pressure. So as we go, I just put a little feel on that hackamore, lifted and shifted the weight of it to encourage him to soften and flex, turned it loose, soften and flex, turned it loose, and then started to eventually get where I might hold it for little bits and little bits. And again, this is going to work similar to the rope halter with the reins tied on it. Now we're going to switch up and look at how we can do the same idea with our snaffle bit with the slobber straps. So now that we've switched to the snaffle bridle with our slobber straps and Makati reins, you can notice that again the rein as it slides on his neck is going to signal him, and you can see that slobber strap lift up from it hangs in a neutral to it starts to lift and signal him, get ready, something's going to happen. And he prepares himself for whatever that might be, whatever he's going to need to do. That's the quality maneuver that we're going to be looking for in anything we do. Now, a lot of times when people think about development, we think about that the flexion is something that we learn later. Now, that's true in horsemanship. We try to encourage people to let go of the reins, quit hanging on their faces, and worry about the flexion later. However, in the development of a horse, I do it right from the start. Okay, right from the first time that they're haltered, right from the first time that I have a feel on their face, the first ride, I want them responding with a nice bend in their nose and tucking their chin. Okay, and I'm just going to do it in little bits right from the beginning so I don't ever have to re-teach them what to do with their nose and neck. Okay, again, I'm just going to go out and walk a little circle so you can see how I'm going to play with that, and I want you to focus on the lifting of the reins. When I lift, I'm going to go thumbs up and it lifts straight up in the air versus pull back here. That's not going to give me nice flexion. Lifting my horse, lifting them up to me, thumbs up, is going to start to create that pretty picture with the nose and the neck. We're just going to go for a little walk for you. So I've got my thumb up so you can see it's this direction is where my energy's going, not back here. That's not going to help get me quality flexion and frame them up. As we wrap up this savvy moment, I hope that you go out and play with your horse and start to have more awareness and understanding of the tools that we're using and where that's going to help us with developing one ourselves. That's the horsemanship of using the tools in that way versus it just being about pressure and release. And then getting our horses developed so that we have quality in our maneuvers, good flexion. It's mind, flexion, weight, feet. I'm not so worried about what their feet are doing until I can have their mind thinking the idea and their body shaped up. This has been another one of Jake's Savvy Moments.